At this very moment, as you breathe, the planet pulsates with movement. Billions of creatures are on the move. On the golden plains of the Serengeti, 1.5 million wildebeest cross crocodile-infested rivers, leaving behind 250,000 dead each year. In the skies of North America, 300 million monarch butterflies travel 4,000 kilometers between Canada and the sacred forests of Mexico, guided by a solar compass inscribed in brains smaller than a pinhead. In the Antarctic oceans, humpback whales swim 16,000 kilometers to the tropics to give birth in warm waters. And Arctic terns complete the longest migration in the animal kingdom. 90,000 kilometers a year, from pole to pole, chasing an eternal summer that never ends. Each of these journeys is a challenge against death. But there is one migration that surpasses all others in brutality. A journey where the reward for victory is death. This is the saga of the Pacific salmon, scarlet warriors who abandon the vast ocean to swim thousands of kilometers against raging currents, climb 3-meter waterfalls, and brave ambushes set by hungry bears, all to return to the exact spot where they were born. Research from the magazine Nature Studies from 2024 revealed that 5 species of salmon transport millions of tons of marine nutrients to land annually. And here's the fact that will haunt you. Less than 10% will survive. And all of them, absolutely all of them that complete the journey, will die soon after. What happens next seems like science fiction. When the salmon detects the first chemical signals from its native river, its body begins one of nature's most radical metamorphoses. The silvery skin disappears in days. A blood-red coloration emerges in the sockeye salmon. Oncorhynchus nurca, moss green in Kita salmon, Oncorhynchus kita. But the most disturbing change occurs in the males' heads. Their jaws curve violently, forming a monstrous hook called scype, armed with sharp canine teeth. Pink salmon, Oncorhynchus gorbutia. They develop a grotesque hump of up to 15 centimeters. These transformations are irreversible. A death sentence inscribed in their DNA. Here's the detail that will haunt you. From the moment they enter fresh water, salmon completely stop feeding. Their digestive system atrophies, their stomachs shrink, their intestines close. All the energy to swim thousands of kilometers comes from reserves accumulated in the ocean. An adult salmon carries 130 grams of nitrogen and 20,000 kilojoules of energy in its muscles. Telemetry studies have documented salmon losing 40% of their body mass during the journey. When they reach the spawning grounds, many have open wounds, fungi covering scales, collapsing organs. Their bodies decompose while they are still swimming. Living corpses fulfilling an ancient mission. Imagine swimming from Lisbon to Moscow, against the current, without eating, for 3 months. That's exactly what king salmon do. Oncorhynchus chowitcha. The Yukon River travels 3,200 kilometers every year, from the Bering Sea to its Canadian headwaters. The Yukon meanders through boreal forests, granite canyons, and tundras, where temperatures plummet to 40 degrees below zero. The Bristol Bay Basin in Alaska is home to the largest population of sockeye salmon on the planet, 46% of the world's population. In peak years, 60 million salmon cross these rivers simultaneously. The waterways become so congested that it would be possible to walk across them on the bodies of the fish. Now, the question that challenges science: how do they know where to go? A salmon spends up to 7 years in the ocean, traveling thousands of kilometers. Then, it finds the exact mouth of the river, where it was born, and returns to the precise square meter of gravel, where it emerged from an egg. The answer lies in its skull. Magnetite crystals function as a biological compass, detecting the Earth's magnetic field. But there's more. The salmon's nose contains millions of chemical receptors that detect concentrations of 1 part per trillion. During juvenile migration, the brain records the chemical imprint of each tributary. Years later, it follows this olfactory map in reverse. It's like returning home following only the aroma of your grandmother's cooking across a continent. Before reaching the coast, salmon face the ocean's most efficient killers. In the Salish Sea, between Washington and British Columbia, killer whales patrol. Orcinus orca. 6-ton predators with brains larger than ours. The resident populations of the West Coast have developed absolute specialization. They hunt exclusively salmon, preferring the Chinook salmon. Research from the University of Washington has calculated that these orcas collectively consume more than 2.5 million adult Chinook salmon per year. Each orca needs 200 kilograms of fish daily. Using echolocation, they detect schools of fish from kilometers away and coordinate group attacks. The cruelest part: they deliberately select the largest individuals, precisely those with the greatest reproductive potential. Survived the orcas? Congratulations. Now face 77,000 hungry seals. In the estuaries, another army awaits: the common seals. Baby seal. The population of the Salish Sea exploded from 8,600 individuals in 1975 to 77,000 currently. A study by Scientific Reports. It was estimated that they devour 23 million young salmon in this region alone. Steller's sea lions, Eumetopias jubatus, and California sea lions, Zalaphus californianus. They learned to ambush salmon at the exits of fish ladders in dams. Predation by marine mammals has increased tenfold in 4 decades. For a salmon, the ocean is a living minefield. Have you ever seen a 700-pound bear catch a fish in midair with its mouth? In Katmai National Park, Alaska, 2,000 brown bears, gray bear. Every summer, they converge for one of the greatest predatory spectacles on the planet. Brooks Falls creates a barrier that concentrates millions of sockeye salmon. The bears learn to position themselves at the top, waiting for the fish to leap directly into their jaws. A dominant male can consume more than 40 salmon a day. 100,000 calories, 40 times the human need. Before hibernation, they enter a state of hyperphagia. Hormones eliminate satiety, allowing them to eat non-stop. A bear can double its weight in weeks of feasting. Each bear develops unique techniques, passed down from mothers to cubs for generations. Some practice dive and catch, smashing fish against the bottom. Others master aerial capture with millimeter precision. When food is plentiful, they consume only the brain, roe, and skin, the fattiest parts. Black bears, Ursus americanus. They also participate, but they fish mainly at night. Their dark fur is detected by salmon during the day. Studies with Kermode bears, a white-furred variant, have shown that they catch 30% more salmon during the day because their coloration does not detect them. It scares the fish. Evolution has shaped each predator to maximize its harvest. "3,000 eagles in a single valley." Read that again. In the Chilkat River Valley, 80 kilometers north of Juneau, lies the largest concentration of bald eagles, Haliaeetus leucocephalus, of the world's largest populations. Every autumn, more than 3,000 birds with wingspans of 2 meters and 30 centimeters migrate to feed on Keta salmon. The secret: hot springs keep the river thawed, even in Alaska's brutal winter. The eagles dive at 160 kilometers per hour to snatch salmon with 7-centimeter talons. But they are not noble hunters. They steal prey from smaller birds and fight over carcasses in aerial battles. Alaska is home to 30,000 eagles, and salmon are the only factor that sustains this concentration. And just when you think you've seen all the predators, the wolves emerge from the shadows. In the coastal forests of British Columbia, coastal wolves. Canis lupus. They have developed unique behavior. Up to 90% of their seasonal diet consists of salmon. Researchers have observed them wading in shallow waters, catching fish like miniature bears. The list goes on. Otters, Canada otter. March, American Tuesday. Let's aim, Neogale bison. Crows, seagulls, and even squirrels feed on the carcasses. Salmon are the energy foundation of the entire coastal ecosystem of the North Pacific. Surviving 3,000 kilometers of torture guarantees nothing. The final battle is yet to come. In the spawning grounds, the violence reaches medieval proportions. The males, grotesquely deformed, engage in brutal combat. Their hooked jaws, the kypes, are used to bite, tear, and rip apart rivals. Wounds expose muscles and bones. The winners earn the right to stand next to the females while they excavate nests called redds. The female lays between 2,000 and 7,000 eggs. At the precise moment, the male releases sperm, but dwarf males called sneakers. These insects, which never migrate, position themselves stealthily and fertilize up to 30% of the eggs. Evolution rewards strength and cunning. And then, finally, death arrives. After spawning, Pacific salmon no longer have a biological reason to exist. Their already ravaged bodies begin to rot while they are still alive. The immune system collapses. Fungi colonize scales. Organs fail one after another. Pre-spawning mortality ranges from 3 to 90%. Those that manage to spawn die within days, and bodies accumulate by the millions on the shores. But, and here is the twist that transforms tragedy into triumph, this mass death is the greatest gift that salmon offer. Each carcass is a nutrient bomb that will fertilize forests, and ensure that the next generation is born into a thriving ecosystem. Prepare to have your mind blown. Salmon don't just feed animals, they feed entire forests. Scientists call them the ultimate ecosystem engineers. A University of Washington study found that trees in rivers with salmon grow 3 times faster than in rivers without them. Up to 75% of the nitrogen in the leaves of Sitka redwoods comes from decomposing carcasses. Nitrogen-15, a rare marine isotope, allows us to trace salmon nutrients in the rings of centuries-old trees. When bears drag carcasses into the forest, they fertilize the soil. When eagles defecate in the treetops, they deposit oceanic phosphorus. The decaying bodies feed invertebrates that will be devoured by salmon fry. The cycle is perfect. The next time you see a salmon, remember, you're looking at a hero. Every fish that completes the impossible journey, that escapes orcas, that leaps waterfalls, that survives bears, that wins bloody battles, does it all knowing that death is the only reward. But their death nourishes life. Their bodies nourish forests, sustain predators, fertilize rivers, and ensure that the next generation will find a healthy ecosystem. Research estimates that only 5 to 7% of the nutrients historically transported still reach ecosystems. Protecting salmon is protecting a living bridge between ocean and land. When the last salmon dies, the forests will feel it. And so will we. If you've made it this far, you've witnessed one of nature's most epic stories. "90% die, but the 10% that survive ensure that life continues. In the forests, in the rivers, in every creature that depends on this sacred cycle. Leave a like if this journey touched you. Subscribe No Marine Sanctuary to explore more mysteries of the oceans. Turn on the notification bell so as not to miss any expedition. And in the comments, tell me, which predator impressed you the most? The bear that eats 40 salmon a day? The orcas that coordinate attacks? Or the eagles that fight over carcasses in the air? See you on the next adventure.